Okay, so guys, so what do you know about the? Please share your thoughts on the LDAP directory services, both of you. So, Guru, there is a one more person is there. His name is Prakash, right? So he's also looking for the OpenDJ training, right? So, both of you first introduce yourself, and then we can start.
Yeah, actually, I'm Guru. I'm working as a Unix admin, um, mostly into the support side. Currently, we are migrating this existing LDAP to the ping LDAP. So that's the reason, the main reason, that's the objective of attending this training. Um, yeah, that's it from my side.
Prakash,
Yeah, hi. This is Prakash. I have around like a 9 years experience, and I'm working with the identity access management implementation and support on configuration level. And for new project, we are using like a ForgeRock or like a ForgeRock end-to-end implementation. That's why I'm learning to the ForgeRock OpenDJ, like OpenDJ. We are learning actually. We are doing the data migrations and everything from their uh, previous version to the latest version. Yeah.
okay, okay, guys. What do you know about the LDAP, guys?
LDAP is just a centralized repository where it provides the user access, um, and also the other configuration, like for the NFS shares mounting. Predominantly, it's a centralized user access. That's what I understand it.
Thanks, Guru. Prakash.
Yes, sir. It's like a lightweight directory. First thing, and the second thing, for most of the organization, they don't want authentication with Active Directory like that. They want to use for that LDAP, like this LDAP authentication. What are the tools? And third thing, mainly used for the any particular third-party users like that. Example, like any vendors like that. They don't want to manage the users in their own Active Directory. For that reason, they use the LDAP to manage like a customers and users or like partners and everything. They want to manage the everything user authentication authorization in the LDAP browser only, like through LDAP only. That's the main purpose they want to use.
Okay, thanks guys for sharing your thoughts on the LDAP directory. So let's start with the starting from the history to understand any product. So we need to know about the from where this product starts, how someone thinks about this kind of a requirement to fulfill the requirement, what's the demand at that time for the directory services. So in around early 90s, LDAP starts, and databases are before that, long before that, databases are there, right? So LDAP is also LDAP is also a database, but way of storing the information and way of interacting with the applications and the usage of this database is different than the normal databases. Like databases in a layman language, so we can say database is a storage system which is used for storing some kind of information in a proper format, so which can be easily integrated with the clients, right? So let's say if we say about the normal databases, those are the RDBMS relational database. So only the client applications which understand the RDBMS SQL syntaxes, so they are able to integrate with the database, and they perform the whole kind of a CRUD operations on the database. But normal databases, SQL databases, structured query language databases, stores the information in the tabular format. So there is a table is there, row is there, table, rows, columns, and with multiple tables you can create a single view of it, and you can do lots of stuff with the normal databases. Another databases are the NoSQL databases where the everything is not pre-formatted like in the RDBMS database. So you have to first design your schema with tables, columns, and rows, and define it, and then you have to start storing the things. And it's strict to the defined schema. Second is a NoSQL database, so where there is no defined set of the rules for schema. You can do store with any based on the query. You can put the data into it, right? And you can fetch it similar way. So we discuss about the NoSQL, we discuss about the SQL RDBMS. So this is another kind of a database, but it is older than the NoSQL. NoSQL is around 10, 15 years old, but the LDAP is very old now, more than 30 years old database. And it is used for storing the information in a hierarchical form, right? Like in normal database, store the information in columns and rows in a tabular format. LDAP database stores the information in the hierarchical form. And the database used for storing the information for LDAP directory is the BDB. Berkeley database is used for storing the information for LDAP. So actually LDAP is a protocol, and when we say LDAP directory services, then it becomes the LDAP server, which contains the protocol which is used for interacting with the client applications, and database is used for storing the information in the hierarchical form. Here on the screen you can see here, so we have a lightweight directory access protocol, and it is a lightweight client server protocol for accessing directory services, especially designed for X500. So normally you can see there is a standard for the X509. That's X509 is for the PKI standards, which define about the SSL, right? SSL standards. So X500 is for the directory services. So this is a set of document which define about the X500 about the directory services. So LDAP runs over the TCP/IP or other connection-oriented transfer services. So LDAP is a TCP/IP based server. So like TCP/IP layer is there, OSI layer is there. So LDAP is based on the TCP/IP layer. So our directory is similar to the database, but tends to store the information in the hierarchical form. So designed for the reads and infrequent writes. So there is a common difference between the LDAP and the normal database. So normal database is designed for the write operations, right? But LDAP is designed for the read operation. Like in LDAP, in Active Directory is also LDAP. So whenever someone joins in the organization, its account is created and user set its password, and his account is created in the Active Directory. And organization provide the laptop, which is also based on Windows. So that is integrated with the Active Directory server in terms of the domain controller, right? So whenever you log into the Windows machine, so you provide username, password, and it get authenticated with the Active Directory. So with every login, there is a authentication is happening. So in authentication, first it reads the account, then it sends the authentication query. So all these queries are used for the authentication. So let's say you are just using any application as well, any application. So most of the time we are reading more in comparison to the write operations. So LDAP is mainly used for reading a data and for authentication. So for reading a data, it needs to be fast, and for authentication also it needs to be fast, right? So whenever you are logging to some application, you provide your credentials, and then it should be authenticated. Once you click on OK button, immediately it should be authenticated. You don't have a time or patience to wait for the application, that it is just waiting for the cursor to go round and round, and it took 5 minutes to get authenticated. So like all the bank transactions, all of your user transactions on applications, on mobile applications, authentication should be fast. And LDAP directory services are giving a direct authentication with hashing algorithms are used for authentication, like, and it is inbuilt in the directory server, LDAP directory services. Like you can also perform the same thing in the MySQL or the RDBMS database, but they are not providing you the direct authentications based on the hash. You have to write some service in it. So if you want to just check the authentication, right? But in LDAP, you don't need to do anything. You just need to store the user, store the password, and do the authentication directly, right? So in terms of the LDAP is not only a directory, so there are the other kinds of directories there. So like the phone book present in your as a contact service in your Android or the mobile application, that is also a directory which just gives you the name and number information. You can search it with the name, you can search it with mobile number as well, and you will get the correct number contact detail, and you can just click on the dial button to dial the number. So that is also a directory. Right. So directory can be used for storing any kind of information, and it is used for the searching fast. So here you can see on this screen. So LDAP is initially designed, X500 is initially designed for the OSI protocol stack, but LDAP is designed for the TCP/IP. So initial standards are designed on X.500, but LDAP is adopted as a lightweight with the TCP/IP. So directories are read focused and database are write focused. So based on simple transaction model involves only single operation per transaction, means in a one operation, one transaction. Database are designed for to handle large and diverse transactions spanning multiple data items and many operations, but LDAP is not have that much complexity in terms of the transactions. Just read, single operation, single read, single authentication operation, single user authentication, single modify operation, single entry is modified. So databases support join operation that allow complex result set to be produced. So there is no join or view kind of a stuff in LDAP. So in a market, there are the lots of different directory services are there like OpenDJ, Oracle Unified, Ping Directory, ODSE, Oracle Internet Directory, Oracle Virtual Directory, OpenLDAP, Radian Logic, Red Hat, 389, Active Directory, Tivoli, and many more. Right. So what are the market leaders? Ping Directory is the market leader now, and it is used. One second. So ping directory is in terms of the features, so it is having a more features, right? And next is ping DS is also from the ping identity, and then we have a Oracle OUD. So all these three directories are similar. If you work on one directory, it means you know about 50% of all the directories, right? Because they all share the same source code from the Sun directory server, Sun DJ, right? Sun DS. Right. So now come to ForgeRock. So ForgeRock OpenDJ. So ForgeRock have a IAM suite. So with OpenDJ directory server, then OpenAM access management, OpenIG for identity gateway, right? Identity management, that is IDM, and REST API gateway. So ForgeRock have a four products which comes under a ForgeRock IAM suite. Now they are in under the flagship of the Ping Identity organization. They are the products of the Ping Identity, and ForgeRock OpenDJ Directory Server is now known as a Ping DS, and version 8 is the latest version for all these products in the ForgeRock IAM suite. Any questions, guys?
Actually, Praveen, actually, all the directory service come from the Sun DS, isn't it? Sun DS is the
Not all.
okay.
Oracle OUD, Ping DS, and Ping Directory. They come from Sun DS.
Okay. So now the ping taken over the ForgeRock, right? I think in case if we want to log any case or anything, we need to log case with ping directory services, right?
Actually, there is a one company called Thoma Bravo,
Okay.
which take over three companies: SailPoint, ForgeRock, and Ping Identity. So still the SailPoint is a separate entity, but Ping Identity and ForgeRock are merged together, right?
Mm.
And now ForgeRock name is disappeared, and they are under the flagship of the Ping Identity. So if you have to log a case, you have to log on the Ping Identity site.
Okay. And mostly this ping identity DS will run on Linux based operating system, right?
No, you can run it on the either Linux or Windows.
Okay.
but people are running on Windows Linux only.
Okay.
So it gives more performance on Linux. That's the reason. Okay. So now comes to the how the data is saved in the ping directory. So data is saved in the in ping directory or ping ds or any LDAP directory. So like in databases we have a tables, right? We have table. So here in the LDAP directories there is no concept of like tables. So we know it with the name of the suffix. So this is the suffix. So initial suffix is like DC example, DC com is there. So this is the suffix which present with every entry here. So suffix is there. Under suffix, so we have other sub containers are there. OU people, OU groups, OU other. So these are the three different containers are there. And under these containers, like people is used for storing the users, group is used for storing the users, groups, and other you can store any kind of stuff. But technically in LDAP you can store any kind of XYZ information. There is no limitation that you have to store users or group. You can store any kind of information. And it is not only used for authentication only. You can store any kind of information and you can use it and share the information over the internet. Right? Authentication is providing authentication to the users is a one feature, but you can use it for storing anything. But storing like files is or images or videos is not recommended because those are consuming lots of space and those cannot be transferred easily over a search command, right? So small set of information, you can store it and you can search it, you can modify it, right? And you can integrate with LDAP is a very old protocol. Every language have its libraries to connect, right? Okay, so directory information tree. So here in the terminal data structure, this is known as the data structure. So data means directory information tree. So data means directory information tree. Above given picture is a date structure of suffix, example suffix. Suffix starting point of the date is with DC equal to example DC com. DN, so there is a very important, like in the databases columns we have a column name. So similarly we have here a attribute names and attribute values. So attribute name, so DN is also attribute name, which every entry whenever you are storing the information in LDAP, you have to store that entry in LDAP, and that entry is starting with the DN attribute. So DN is a distinguished name, a unique naming convention defined by LDAP protocol to store an entry uniquely. Means DN gives you the information like where the entry is stored. It is similar like the, like if you are mentioning your address on an envelope to send it somewhere, so you have to mention the full address. So where you are living currently, what is your address? So DN is also like an address of an entry in the LDAP. So like here DN is a distinguished name separated by colon and then UID equal to John. So this is the user John entry. UID is for user ID. Then it is present in the people container with OU equal to people. OU means here organization unit. Then DC equal to example, DC equal to com. So this is the suffix. So this is same for every entry present, whether you can store 10 entry, 100,000, million, billion. There is no limitation for storing an entry in LDAP. So this is for the CN equal to sales, OU groups, DC example, DC com. RDN, relative distinguished name, the leftmost part of the DN is a RDN. UID equal to John is RDN out of UID equal to John, OU people, DC example, DC com. RDN attribute present in the RDN to hold the value of RDN is called RDN attribute. RDN, UID equal to John, UID is the RDN attribute. Schema. So what is schema here? So schema is nothing but a schema is a set of rules which defines like the how you are going to store the information in LDAP. Right. So schema is a collection of attributes and object classes with set of rules used to define the type of entries with type of data to be stored in the directory server. So like in database also have a schema. In database schema defines like the how many tables are there in a database. So which table have a which number of the columns. So columns are defined, and in which column what type of a data you can store. Like you can store char string, what is the limit of the char string, 10 character, 50 characters, text, boolean, numbers, dates, right? So you can define a schema in LDAP as well, but LDAP also comes with a standard schema, right? LDAP comes with a standard schema. So attribute are container used to store a specific value based on the attribute. So attribute is similar like the column name, so which contains your information. So object class is a type of entry with list of attributes present in the entry. Right. So LDAP is data interchange format, a text representation of LDAP entries. So LDAP is a like in SQL, you can store the entry only in text and then send it to the server. Server will store in the binary form. So similarly, LDAP also stores the information in computers. Information is stored on hard disk in databases in binary form only. So, but users only understand this information in this text form only. So this is the text representation of the data. So how you are going to present the user data or group data or any object data and send it to the server. Clear, guys? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this is how users are created. Now let's come to the, let me share the another window. So guys, let me give you the, can I share this document here? So you can just go through in 10 minutes and then we can continue so that you have a little idea about what we are discussing. Can I share here in the meeting or I have to send over an email?
I think email will be better actually.
Give me your, I will share on the WhatsApp, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
You have directly. Okay.
But you're not possible to share the document, I think, sir. This chart.
No, I will share the document over the WhatsApp.
Okay.
Praveen, actually, the database what we use on the LDAP, it's not the it's kind of similar to SQL.
No, no, it's the Berkeley database, BDB or LDBM.
Okay, so you can't use the SQL command or
No,
anything
no, you
to.
can't use the skill commands here.
Okay. But is there any separate query command which you use for the LDAP or?
LDAP have a totally separate commands.
Okay. Okay. Sorry to ask some silly question because I'm totally new
Don't
to this
worry.
and.
If you are new to something, you have to clear all of your doubts. So let's say how the suffix naming convention, like how you are going to create a suffix, how you are going to create a like database in a MySQL or Oracle database. So you have to relate it with some naming convention, right? Like for making a host name, making a organization name. So there is a naming convention is there for managing a things. So similarly in LDAP also there are the term called naming convention, right? So like the organization name is domain name is, let's say, example.com or ibm.com, right? Or wipro.com, correct? So these are the different names when the websites are running. of these organizations like IBM.com, Wipro.com, Example.com. Example is just for example, and maybe you don't find it, but it is there. So domains are like this only. Okay, so how we are going to create a LDAP database for it? What should be our naming convention, right? So there are the two ways are there. One is the based on based on internet domain name, and second is based on geographical location, right? So let's come to the internet domain. So if example.com is a website, so we are going to make the suffix as dc equal to example, dc equal to com. So what's the meaning of the dc, right? And third is your organization based, organization name based, right? So DC equal to example, DC equal to com. So DC is an attribute here, which means domain component, right? And example is a domain name. So DC is a attribute, DC domain component,
Okay.
right? And we break this into two parts, example.com. So DC equal to example one component, and DC equal to com is another component. Similarly for the DC equal to IBM, comma DC equal to com, right? Other ways where we can create the naming convention for suffix is organization based. So in which we will use the attribute called O equal to example.com, or for IBM O equal to IBM.com. So O is a organization. The organization is example.com, organization is IBM.com, organization is Wipro.com, right? So similarly here DC equal to example, DC equal to com here.
Okay.
So right. So location based is you can just create a location like this, like O equal to example.com and C equal to IM, India. Country is India, right?
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, this
Yes.
way also you can define, but which is mostly used. So most of the time we are using this one,
First
internet
one.
naming convention, first one. But in some
Yes.
organizations, you can also use like this one as well. Okay.
Okay.
Or you can
Okay.
also use based on your services as well. Like you can just use O equal to apps, but that is not, I even didn't even means it is not limited to hard and fast rule. You can use this way only. You just need to care about the attribute and its value, right?
Okay.
So similarly here you can see over the, so this equal to example, this equal to com, OU people, OU groups, OU other, right? So this is the suffix and it is a parent of all the entries. Now under this suffix, so you have a OU equal to people, OU groups, OU other. So three sub
Yes.
containers are there. So these containers can be defined based on type of entry or based on location. Like here, you can also create container like OU equal to Delhi, OU equal to Bangalore, OU equal to Chennai.
Mm.
And in those containers, again, you can create sub containers, OU people, OU groups like that.
Okay. Like I mean, in the under OU, whatever want we can create. Suppose in the
Anything, there is
example.com,
no limitation.
there is no limitation.
That is
But
limitation is around 255 characters. And nobody is
to
going to create such a long DN.
okay.
Just 2 to 3 entries are there in the DN. So like one entry
Okay.
is example DCCOM, second is people, and third one is always a user entry or a end entry, which is actual entry. So this is the tree form. So this is the full location. The address DN gives the full address of the entry where it present in the suffix tree.
Yeah,
Right?
Praveen, Praveen, one question. Okay, so for example, the DC under DC example.com, we have a people. Okay, so under the people, you suppose if that organization has some 100 people, okay, so example.com, so we need to put all the 100 people under the OU people, right?
Right.
Okay.
You can also create users directly anywhere. Means you can create any entry anywhere. But just for managing, for our use, for normal management of our data, basic understanding, people should be in under the people container.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't,
that's for yeah,
but you
best
can create
practice.
anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Like we are managing the files and directories, multiple files and directories based on the approach. We are just using some approach so that we can easily understand what should to be the next type of entry or directory, right?
And suppose you have something different authentication, and they want to come to ForgeRock, LDAP support. So who will decide? Okay, this has to be like this, and we can separate like this. This is the LDAP admin has to put the design, right? So
Yes,
okay, okay.
LDAP admin has to design it, the DIT, and share the DIT to them. And if the organization need like these type of users need to be in a separate container, then you have to define the separate container and give it to them.
But how do we transfer those data into here based on your design? Is there any migration
No.
tool, or it has to be a manual entry,
The
right?
actual thing is LDAP administrators are not creating a data, right?
Okay.
They always manage the servers. So data is inserting through the IDM tools, right?
Mm.
Like ForgeRock IDM or SailPoint. They are managing a data. They are performing all the CRUD operations. You have to just define them the connection details, username, password, and suffix, and where to store which kind of entry. You have to define that. And they will add entry, delete entry, update entry. Right. Similarly, applications are also doing the same. IDM is also a kind of application for managing a user lifecycle.
Okay. So
Okay.
who will exactly the transfer the the data? I think that's a separate uh, tool, or
No. Here, let's say if you are migrating
yeah.
from Oracle LDAP to Ping DS,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Then it is your responsibility which approach you use to migrate the data from the Oracle LDAP to Ping LDAP. It's your responsibility. Their responsibility is just to manage the data inside the database. That database is a LDAP directory, right?
Okay.
But you are managing a services. So when service move, this is a already running service. So when one service moves to the another product or on another platform, then it's the duty of the LDAP administrator or LDAP engineer, not of the application engineers.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
because how they know how the server is running, what's the version of it, how it works, what's the ways to transfer the data, what's the ways to sync the data, they don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the LDAP terminologies: DIT, directory information tree, suffix, starting point of the DIT, right? DN. So this is the DN, UID equal to John, OU people, DC example, DC com, DN, CN equal to sales, OU groups, DC example, DC com, RDN. So what is RDN? RDN is the leftmost part of the DN. So let's say this is the full DN, right? So from this full DN, what is the leftmost part? This is the leftmost part. So this is called as a RDN, that is a relative DN. So in relative DN, two things are there. One is the RDN attribute, one is RDN value. So this is the attribute, so this is known as the RDN attribute, and this zone is the RDN value. Like here, RDN equal to UID zone. So UID is the RDN attribute. Attribute is a container which holds the actual value of the information related to the user, right? And this is the entry. So this entry defines like this. Every entry always start with a DN attribute, then the value of the attribute which defines the type of entry and also address of the entry where it is present in the data. So like UID John. So UID John is present in organization unit container. Organize, you can say either organization unit or container. OU is for organization unit, but CN attribute is also just used for the as a container as well and as a common name, right? So this is the people is a container and this is the suffix TC example DCco. Now next is the object class. So object class defines the type of an entry, right? So object class top is an abstract object class which is parent of all the object classes and which defines that if you want to use this object class, you have to define another object class that is a structural object class. Now there are the three kinds of object classes are there. So one is abstract, one is structural, and one is auxiliary. So abstract is a top is a abstract class and that is a parent of all the object classes. And next one is structural. So structural defines a inheritance. Like if you are from the Java background, so Java have a inheritance class, right? So person is a structural object class and organization person is its child class. So organization person parent is person and init.org person class have a parent is organization person, right? So object classes defines the type of an entry and what type of attributes are present in this entry and how you can store the data in it, right? So like normally in terms of the class, so like we have a class, right? So in a class, let's say every person here on the globe have the two classes. One is family and one is professional and third one is friend, right? So everyone have a family class. So family class have the attributes like father, mother, brother, sister, right? So father and mother is a mandatory attribute, right? Everyone have a father and mother, but brother and sister is a siblings is a optional attribute. Someone have a sibling, maybe not all the people have siblings, right? So those are the mandatory attribute and the optional attributes. So like here in person object class, CN and SN is the mandatory attribute. So if you want to define a user entry, you have to define common name and surname. So CN is for common name, SN is for surname. User password is the attribute which holds your password. Right, guys? Hello?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So like
Yeah.
this is the user entry how to define. So similarly, if we create an entry here, so let's say, let's create entries here. So let's say I have a suffix this equal to example.
You're
This is,
creating now. We are seeing document only.
okay. Let me share the screen again.
Okay.
Okay. DC example is a suffix. So how to create an entry of it? dn colon DC equal to example DC equal to count. Its object class is object class domain, right? Then DC colon example. So whatever the RDN define here, you have to also mention here. So attribute are separated with colon and space. So you have to just give colon and then space here, right? And then description you can give. Description is example or you can just give any description, right? So this is the one entry. Second entry is the people. So people start with OU equal to people, DC equal to example, DC equal to form, and object class is I just give organizational unit and object class top. So either you can give top, up or down. Its order doesn't matter. And then OU colon people and then description people container. Right. Then DN colon OU equal to groups. Example is equal to com. Object class organizational unit. Okay. And top. Okay. Organizational unit object class top. Organizational unit object class colon top. Then groups. Okay. Then we have DN colon UID equal to user dot one. Let's say O equal to people, BC equal to example, BC equal to 4. Okay. Object class top, object class person, object class.
But we have to mention object class, right? Praveen?
Yes, you have to mention object class. Without object class, you can't create it.
At least one object class has to be there, right? Or
Yes, one, the bottom one, child one, we used to mention, the parent one will automatically inherit it. Like here, I mention here inet or the person, right? So four object classes, right? So
okay.
with five, you will get five attributes. With here, you will get around 25 attribute. It's not exact. And here around 30 attribute. Means by using these object classes, you can use around 60 to 70 attributes used for this entry. And those attributes are like first common name, surname, display name, given name, right? Postal index number, mobile number, telephone number, fax number, postal address, street number, locality, country, city, email ID, right? Lots of other attributes are there.
So what is the maximum attribute actually for one?
There is no limit for maximum attribute.
Oh,
Maximum attribute depends upon the object class you are using. You are limited to those attributes only which are defined in the object class while creating an entry. Like in when you are inserting a row in a table, you can only insert up to the number of columns only. You can't add extra column on the go.
okay.
Right. So similarly, whatever is defined in the object class schema, you can only add those attributes only while adding an entry or while performing any CRUD operation on that entry. Okay. So here cn equal to user dot one, surname is, let's say, user, user password is password, and description is employee, manager is, let's say, UID equal to John, right? This is the manager. Employee number is 1, employee type is permanent, right? Mail is user.1@example.com, right? Display name is user1, given name is user.1. right? So you can create around any number of attributes which are defined in the object class. So here two attributes. So CN and SN are mandatory for creating this entry, right? And UID is also mandatory as you are using UID in the DN. So these three attributes are only mandatory, but you can also create this entry with by giving CN equal to user.1 as well. It's not hard and fast rule that you can use UID for you use UID in the users in DN only. You can use CN as well. But normally around 80% of the directories are using UID because UID synonyms user ID, that is a login ID, more than common name which contains first name and last name both. Given name is a first name. SN is the surname, but CN contains the first name and last name, that is a full name, normally in IAM standards. Clear? So this is how entry is created. Clear, guys? Now let's create a entry for groups. So CN equal to sales, OU equal to groups, DC equal to example, DC equal to com, object class top, object class.
I mean, actually, this we need to create manually for each and every user, right? Suppose, even suppose if the organization has more than 1,000 people. See, for example, the big IT industry, they have almost 30 to 40,000 people. So if they want to use this kind of LDAP service, initially they have to type manually to for each and every
No,
user, right? Okay.
no,
Okay.
nobody is adding a user in LDAP directly from long time. All
Okay.
are adding a users in LDAP through application. So user registered on the application and then it will automatically create it in LDAP. So like in the when let's say if we talk about the user life cycle in an organization, so when the user comes first, so with HR, so HR create a user profile in the HR database, right?
Yeah.
After clearing interview and everything and joining date, HR just initiate the joining of that user, so that entry will go automatically to the IT. In place of IT, it will go automatically to the IDM, that is identity manager. Okay.
Yeah.
And from IDM, it will based on the role, based on the manager, based on the project. It will create the entry in the underlying data sources. It is Active Directory, it also a database. It also creates an email in Exchange server or any mail server present in the organization. It creates a user in LDAP directory as well, right? Automatically, and assign the groups as well, as give accesses as well, default accesses. But when the user comes on the first day, he gets the laptop, he gets the username and password, he log in. On first login he need to reset his password, right? So those are created through seamlessly through HR, or those are created through self registration, or those are created based on the, let's say you are buying one insurance, and that insurance people who are selling insurance, the clerk is there on the counter, he will create, the insurance agent collects all the documents from you and he pass those documents to the insurance agent. The clerk will create the entry in their own database application. From application it will go to the database and adapt automatically. So we people, LDAP engineers or LDAP administrators are not going to create all these entries,
Okay. This is
right?
just for our understanding how it will be in
We have
the
to know how our system is storing a data, how our system is returning a data to the
okay.
application.
Okay.
Okay, clear? So this is sales group. Group of names is the object class for the sales, and then member. Who are the members? So let's say if we need to add a member, so just copy the DN full location of the user and add it to the member attribute. And similarly, you can add another member as well, like member user. Clear? So this is how user group and containers and suffixes are created. Right, guys? Hello?
Yeah, Praveen. Yeah.
So now let's
Yes, sir.
move to the installation part. Okay, how to install it. I don't think I need to cover everything from scratch, like how to, as you are from also from the Unix background, so you how we have to set a Java home. Maybe on my machine it is already there, right? I think you know how to install a JDK, right? And how to set an environment variable. Prakash, you know that?
Yes, sir. I know that, sir. Yes.
Okay. So Java home, you have to set the Java home.
I think it's new for me, Praveen. Actually, but I can practice in my VM later. If you can share the
If
JDK
you
and all.
don't know how to set Java home, I will set it. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Prakash from a development background, right, Prakash?
Not development, like implementation configurations level. Yeah.
It's kind of application support, kind of, yeah.
Yes, yes. Configuration, like application. Yes.
Then I will
So,
do from scratch.
sir, I'm seeing your notepad only. You're
Only
not seeing
Notepad,
the.
yeah.
Okay. So guys here, so
Yeah, Praveen, actually, we can see only your Notepad.
okay. Okay, so I am here with the user, Forge user here. So you can use any normal user. Don't do with the root user, right? But you can also perform it with the root user. So LDAP directory service is running on the port 389 for clear text port and 636 for the SSL port, right? But for these port, you have to run the service with the root user, and it is not recommended to run a service with the root user. Okay, always run a service with a normal user, and your port should be like the 1636 and 1389. Right, we are just prefixing one before the standard port in clear text and in the SSL port. Right, so we log into the Linux machine that you both of you can easily do that, right? Hello.
Yes, yes, Praveen, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So I will create a apps directory here. So cd apps, and I will install the Java here. So tar xvzf.
But do you have a tar file? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have everything.
Uh,
Right. On my system, I have everything. So I am using a OpenJDK 17. I already provide you that, right?
Praveen, actually, when you have time, send me this tar file. I will try to.
No, I already upload to the this drive which is shared with you.
Um,
I will share. I will two
yeah,
things need to be shared.
yeah, okay.
Okay, I will share. So this is extracted.
This is a JDK we are extracting, right?
Yeah, then use a OpenJDK. No need to use Oracle JDK. You can download OpenJDK from anywhere. But for that you need to register on Oracle. Then only you can able to download. That is not for commercial use, right? So we can use now even in the production environment. So these services, all ForgeRock services, are running with the OpenJDK only, because organization need to pay for the Oracle JDK if they are using in their environment, right? So OpenLogic, OpenJDK, and then just rename it to the JDK for our ease, right? And then go to the home for user bash profile and set it set an environment variable here. export Java home equal to $home apps JDK, and also export path equal to $path colon $home apps node1, right? Node1 OpenDJ bin directory. So that all the binaries of the LDAP server, so we'll install the LDAP in the node1, and under node1 OpenDJ directory, and in bin all the commands. So all the commands should be available on the Linux console. Prakash, any question with this? Guru, I know you are expert in that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Because I'm fine with what you mentioned, the export stuff, but the whatever you install like Java, those stuff, it's new
That
for
is,
me.
I'm just setting a Java home
Yeah.
here. $home apps JDK, right? Apps node1 OpenDJ bin, right? Okay, clear? Save
Okay,
it.
sir. Clear.
So either you can log in again, or you can to set these environment variables to the this console, or you can just run a source command so that those are applied to your current running session console. So echo $Java home. So it is coming here, and I will see like the JDK because I am already in the apps directory here. So JDK bin Java version, check it. So this is version 17 that is required at least for the ping DS8, right? So now go to here. Now unzip the ping DS. So create a directory here, node1, then unzip it, unzip -d node1, and I will also just -q for the quiet opt software ping 40 ping fg8 ds8, right? ds8.0 zip, just unzip it. So this is unzip in node. So -q is for quiet, D is for destination directory where you are going to unzip this, and unzip is a command. So ls node1, the OpenDJ directory is created. So go to open cd node1 OpenDJ. Right. So we are here. So let's go through the these directories. So this is the bat directory is there, so which contains your all the commands for the Windows. Means by using a same zip file you can also install this ping ds directory on Windows environment, and where there you have to run the bat. Okay, okay, got it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now this is bat, and bin contains all the binaries which you can run over the Linux. Right here you can see these are coming in the green. On Linux normally comes executables are showing in a green on color screen. Right. Earlier there are the black and white monitors are there, so where there are no colors, right? Or whether it is a directory or a file. Okay, so then we have a directory called extensions. If you develop some extension to extend the features of LDAP, put it here, and it contains the extensions. So legal notices just for the agreements. Lib contains your jar. So these contains your jar files, because pingds is written in Java. So all the libraries are in the jar form, Java archives. Right. Then readme for readme, then samples for running like for the Docker, plugins, password scheme for Grafana for monitoring for secrets. Then you have a setup for running. This setup is for running to install the server. and setup.file for running on the to install it on Windows, this setup to install it on Linux or Solaris or any Unix based system. Template contains your template. Like when you create an instance, so these directories are created. Now you can see only these number of directories and files are there. Template contains other directories, so these are also created once you executed the setup. Upgrade contains your upgrade, right? Clear? Hello?
Okay, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
yes, yeah. And Praveen, actually, no, if you can add this installation steps on your document, that will be good. Like, how to set up Java and also
Don't
this.
worry, don't worry. I will give you the full document.
Yeah, yeah, because
I
we are like a dummy, not we, me actually. So,
No, no, I will give you everything.
yeah, okay.
Okay, you'll get the full document.
Yeah, step by step so that I can
Yes,
put
yes, step
what you did on the machine. I will practice on my side actually. So,
in machine like here it is a Forge user. In document it may be a Forge user or admin.
oh, no
But
problem. Yeah, yeah, that's what.
that's
Yeah,
not like the difference.
yeah, yeah, that I can understand.
Now for installing, so before installing this ping DS, so now there is a change from version I think 6.5. Earlier it's not there. So version 6.5. So they introduce a new feature. So that is for the Dockerization. So you have to create a deployment key, right? And that's the
Yes.
feature in this ping DS only, not in the other LDAP directories from other companies. So it's present. This feature is present in ping DS only. So you have to create a deployment key. So first of all, we need to create a deployment key, and this deployment key should be same in all the, if you have a multi-cluster node. So later we will learn how to create a replication and create a cluster. So in all the cluster node, the deployment key should be same, and you have to use that deployment key throughout the installation of every node, right? So go to bin directory and let's first create a deployment key. So that is a ds key command. Hyphen help. Always use help. Okay.
Any deployment we need a key, is it? I think.
Yes, for any installation of PingDS, you need a key, and
Key,
that key need to be created only one time when you are first time installing in the environment. It's not like you have to install 4 servers in the environment and you are creating a deployment key for each server. No, only with the first server.
Okay. But there is no expiry or anything, right, for this key?
There is no experiment.
Okay.
Okay, create deployment key and then hyphen help. So save it in a file. Okay, so I will save in the home admin dep.key, right? Dep.key. Validity also you can define here, duration of validity for CA certificate, because by using this deployment key, system will generate a CA certificate as well. And that CA is by default is for the 10 years. Default value is 10 years, right? And deployment key password. So you have to always remember this password and keep it secret somewhere, because without this deployment key password, everything is gone, right? Okay, what is this? Okay, so here I use a wrong user. Okay, deployment key is created. Home admin for user dep.key. So this is a long string. So you have to always keep this. Okay, so that's why save it in a file or save it in a vault. Now key is created. Now run a setup command and then help. So first of all, for similarly for every software installation, you have to accept the agreement KPS. Then provide the path where you want to install. So leave the default path. And with one installation, you have to create a single instance only with ping.ds, right? With one extract of the software, create a one instance only. So you can, that's why just keep this same, enter. Give the node ID. So by default, for every node in the cluster, like whenever you're installing a single instance, it will ask for the node ID. So just give node 1. By default, it give you the some random name. And just give node 1. Deployment ID. So here is a deployment ID. Paste the deployment ID, give the deployment ID, password. Okay. Provide the directory root user DN. So give
And the
UID.
password which you said, right,
Which
Arvind,
I
actually?
said earlier while I generated the deployment key.
Deployment key, okay.
Okay. So here it is asking for password for the root user. So this is the root user UID equal to admin. Maybe in the documents it may be CN equal to dir mgr. So you can use any, right? Earlier we people are using CN equal to directory manager, but now the from ping ds 7 or 6, so they by default they are giving UID equal to admin. So I am just using UID admin. Right? So just use this one, or you can use anything. UID equal to Guru, UID equal to Prakash, anything you can give. Right? So provide the password. So you can leave empty if you are using a same password which you provided here. So I am just putting it empty and define the enable default query for the monitoring. So leave it, keep it yes. UID monitor is for monitoring. Enter. Provide the password. Password for monitoring. Fully qualified domain name is ds.example.com. So give this host name. Administration port 4444. Generate a CA signed certificate SSL key pair using the deployment ID here. Right? Easier to deploy but not suitable for public facing server. You already have a CA certificate for the deployment for this. So if you already have your own certificate, use the option 2. Right? So I don't have, so I will use option 1. Prakash, this answer your question earlier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But
Okay.
what I did, I will use the one and I can import the
Put
option
it
like
later.
that I did. Yes, yes, correct.
Okay. Option 1. Right.
Prakash, one second, Praveen. Actually, what was the question, Prakash? Actually,
No,
because
no,
CS
no. That was
certificate.
earlier. So if you already have the SSL key pair, right?
Okay.
Custom one, use this option. If you don't have, use this option and later you can change your certificate with the proper CA signed certificate. In production servers or in organization, you have to use your own CA certificates, not the default generated by the server, right? Proper CA are there. Okay. So here we are just using for learning purpose. We don't have any CS, so we can use this one.
First one, okay. With
Okay.
the SSL key, okay.
Yes. It is customized for the intent if more configuration is needed. So here start the server once setup is complete. Note starting with version 7.0, it is advised to only start the server once. Right? It is customized. It is for the intended deploy. If more config, then select no. Okay, select no because we need to perform lots of other things as well here. Okay, accept the choices, yes. So here you can see instance path is this one, server ID is this, host name is this, administration port is this, deployment ID, use deployment ID, root user this, UID admin, password same as deployment ID password, monitor user, monitor password, start server after setup, disable. So we will start it manually. Yes,
And the port always has to be a triple four, no, 4 times
that is
4.
the
So
administration port. LDAP port it will ask from here, network parameters. Here. Enable LDAP. Yes. Okay. LDAP port as we are running a setup with a normal user, so that's why it will automatically gives you 1389. If you are running it with the root, it will give you 389. Okay, just use this default one. LDAP also just 1636, use default one. HTTP I don't need. HTTPS I need 8443. Enter. Replication port 8989. Do you want to specify server to replicate with? This step can skip if this is the first server. So this is my first server, so I will give just no. Okay, because I don't have another server. If this is your second server, then you have to give yes, and you have to mention your first server host name and port number to authenticate.
Sir,
Except
sir, sir. One question here. Actually, previously, I mean, like, sorry, you provided one command. I'm executing same command only. But when you're doing the manually this one, if suppose I have the four servers, correct? In the
okay.
when I'm the doing the first server, I'll keep the no. Then I'll provide the replication servers, remaining three servers, correct? If I have the replication servers.
From the second server, you have to mention.
Okay, from first server, nothing, no replication server also no need to mention. If
It
when we're
will
doing the manually.
when you are providing this port number, it means application is enabled.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
got it. Okay.
application is enabled. So, but this is the first server, so it is enabled for this server. So you don't need to mention any host name. But when you are adding
Oh,
a second server, then you need to mention.
okay, got it, got it. Okay,
Okay.
got it, sir. Okay,
Yes. So now here it gives you the profile, right? Because this PIN-DS server is used for the different data stores, right? AM configuration store. So if you want to use this instance for storing a AM configuration, then you have to select option 1. If you want to use this for the AM CTS store, you have to select 2. If you want to use this server for AM identity data store, you have to use AM identity data store. If you want to just use for the learning purpose, use DS evaluation. For proxy server, use this. For proxy server, use this. For DS user data, use this. For IDM external repository, use this. Right? Okay. So I just need to use this for the DS user data store. Give 7. Okay, if you are using multiple, then give the numbers comma separated. So provide the dn. So I am giving here dn equal to d is equal to example, d is equal to comma. Right. Import the
so,
LD.
sir, I am using the third option, so AM identity store.
So if you are using a third option, then it will create a suffix with the name ou equal to identities by default.
Okay, okay,
Here we need to use it for any suffix like dc example dc com. For that
okay,
you have to use the option 7 ds user data store.
okay. Because I have AM now, that's why I'm using the third option. So AM identity store I am using actually.
Because here for Guru, he is using the ping DS just for Unix services. You are using
Oh,
DS for the AM server.
okay, got it. Like he's for the external purpose, I'm using for the internal purpose.
Yes,
For
you
understanding.
are using for the for ping AM suite, ping identity
Okay,
ForgeRock suite. You are using ping DS as well. You are using ping AM as well, right?
correct,
Two
correct.
services. He is just using one service LDAP that is for the external data store to use to store some data for the Unix services.
Okay, then what I'm selecting the option that is correct only. Option three only what I'm
You are
selecting is
also
correct for me.
selecting correct. I am also selecting correct.
Okay,
Based on the
fine, sir.
requirement of our environment.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay, I'm not confused then. Okay.
Okay, import data from LD file. Yes, right.
And one more thing, Praveen, actually, for the replica, so it's asking whether you want to replicate this configuration into the other server, right? So, but the other server, we need to install the DS and then get the get replicated, or it will automatically, when you
No,
select
no,
this
no.
out. Okay.
You have to install it. So
Okay,
here you
then
can see. No, here you can see. Do you want to specify a server to replicate with? This can be skipped if this is the first server in the topology. So this is the first server, so we can skip it. If we already installed this server instance and we are
okay,
installing a one more server, then we have to mention here Yes, and it will ask for the host name of the first instance and the port number of the first instance.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. Hit yes. And oh, LDAP path. I don't have. Import data from LDAP file. No, I don't have any. Accept these. Yes. Right. So this is the command used. So we can also put it here. Okay. So you can also use this for the silent installing this installation through a script. You can put this command in a script by checking automatically by giving parameters. This is the silent way of installation. Okay. So set up the server with the specified settings. Start over means, so here you can see file exists. Okay. Configuration data user error. Right. So it is not installed because we mention here file and that file is not present. So no service is running. And ls, but server is configured. Here you can see more number of directories are there. And earlier also we select not to start. So go to bin directory here and run the start list. The server has not been configured, right? So server is not configured. So what we will do, I will remove this and install it with the silent command, right? So that you get to know both the ways. OpenDJ unzip. Okay, so here I have this, so I will just remove this file. So due to this error, because and these stars need to be replaced with the password. Okay, all done. Copy. Accept license is there somewhere. Accept
I
license.
think you need to clear the screen because we can see some.
Okay, okay. I removed all the directory because that is not executed completely because we provide a wrong LD path where it will take the data.
Yeah.
So I because earlier I copied this, so I put the passwords here. Same, I need to just and add the accept license here. Okay. So here also you can see instance path. This is the instance path. Server ID node 1, deployment ID is this, deployment ID password, root user DN, root user password, monitor user DN, monitor user password, host name, admin connector port, LDAP port, LDAPS port, HTTPS port, replication port, profile. Okay, and run it here.
And one more question, Praveen. Actually, it was asking whether you want to replicate, right, the data, because how many replicate server we can have, maximum at least,
No limit.
no limit. And
Okay.
all, and also if somebody want updating something, if suppose somebody is newly joined in your organization and then they are adding the data, so it will add it to only one server, the first server, and it will get automatically synced to the other
Yes.
server. Okay.
Yes.
So we need to say, schedule some kind of sync between the
No.
first. Okay.
That is the auto process.
Okay.
You can just perform the CRUD operation. System will take care of automatically for the replication changes. You can perform a change on any server. It will automatically replicate to all other servers. Okay. So here ps-server is not running. Go to bin and start the server. Okay. The server is running now. And here you can see LDAP is running on 1389. HTTPS is 8443, SSL is on this, and administration connector port is on this. Okay, run the status command here. Status hyphen hyphen offline if you don't want to give the credentials, and you can see here. Version ping DS server 8. Installation instance is this. Run status is started. Host name is this. Server ID is this. Administration port is this. Port numbers are these. Backends are just the databases. So like DC example, DC.com is there. Backend name is user data and it is of type database. DB is database. UID admin is a user and it is of type other. For root user, it's just stored in a text file. UID monitor, this is also for monitoring purpose. And it is also no proxy backend, no disk space. But if we connect it with, let's say, ds.example.com, port is 4444 and user is UID equal to admin and password is password. So now you can see it will give you much more information. Yes, to connect on SSL. So this is your server certificate, right? So this is the server certificate. This is the issuer. CN equal to ds forgerock.com. So here you can say still ForgeRock is coming, but this is a ping ds ping identity. So both are collaborated with each other. Okay. CN deployment ForgeRock. So this is the issuer CA certificate. This key and this key is same. Okay. This is, I will give -X for the accepting the certificate by default. And here you can see now it gives you the Java running status is this we already discussed. Java version this, Java vendor OpenLogic, JVM max heap size is 3 GB assigned to it. CPU available for JVM is 4. These are the ports and these are the local backends. UID monitor, number of entries present, replication is normal, receive delay is this, replay delay is 0 millisecond, backend is monitor user, type is other. Right? Disk space is 7 GB is left on the system, root file system, state is normal. Clear guys?
Yes, Praveen. Praveen, one more question. Suppose, you set up everything. If the client wants to connect to these servers, okay, for authentication or anything, so they have to use the port, the 1389, is it?
Right. And 1636 if they want to connect over SSL. 4444 is used for our management purpose. That's a management console port.
So that never changed. That is the default one for any ping DS, isn't it? Or we can change to different one.
No, you can change. You
Okay.
can do anything, XYZ, but that is a default port. You can change any port according to your requirement.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's enough for today, guys.
Yeah. And the last question, Praveen. Actually, suppose you have for example, you have three replica servers. Okay. So one is the first server, and you got the three replica servers. Okay. So if the client want to connect to that LDAP, so all four server entry has to be in the client configuration, or
So some clients are like that, like the you can mention all the four server entries. So if the first is not able to connect, it will connect to second. From second, it will go to third. But normally it's like it's a time of the load balancers. So we have to use a load balancer. Just
okay,
mention the
okay.
load balancer LB URL, LB host name and port. It will automatically connect to the backend available server.
So we are covering later on this topic, right? This topic.
I will cover. I will create a diagram and show to you, but I don't have any LB here.
Okay, sure. No, no, that is fine actually. Just to understand.
I will explain.
Okay.